HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
Welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition. Good evening, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis. Thanks so much for joining us. Police quite busy this Sunday investigating yet another daring daylight attempted robbery here in New Providence. This morning's incident occurred in southwestern New Providence. Our cameras were there to catch all the action. Here's tonight's top story. Just before noon on Sunday, the area adjacent to the Budget Meat Mart on the intersection of Faith Avenue South and Cowpen Road turned into what can best be described as a scene from a Western movie on the big screen. According to officer in charge of the Central Detective Unit, Superintendent Paul Roll, an armored truck company was performing a routine operation at the establishment when the unthinkable happened.
And preliminary investigations so far reveals that as the patrons from the web shop had prepared their deposit, the armored car came to collect, and after receiving this deposit and was about to leave, they were accosted by 4 individuals in a silver type vehicle. These persons were armed with what we believe to be high-powered assault rifle and at least a handgun, where they opened fire on the armored personnel. The armored personnel in turn returned fire, gunfire at these culprits, and a short time later we discovered a male on St. Vincent Road, just 1 block away, suffering from gunshot wound to the face. In the area where we found him, we also found a black tar mask, which we believe was a part of his accoutrement, as well as some additional ammunition for the high-powered weapon.
But here is where things get a little more interesting. Police believe the other culprits reportedly drove off in a silver bumperless Nissan Altima that ended up engulfed in flames near the Seven Hills area of Blue Hill Road South. When ZNS News arrived there, firefighters were working feverishly to extinguish the blaze. Residents stood outside in awe while others snapped pictures of the burned ruins from their cell phones. Police say a woman may have been caught in this failed attempted robbery.
We are receiving information that a female may have been abducted, and so we're trying to find her whereabouts and confirm whether in fact that is so.
Police confirmed that while unsuccessful in retrieving any cash, that male suspect was taken to hospital. 3 others still remain at large. An intense investigation continues. Police here in the capital recording another successful operation, this time relentless pursuit to tackle crime on the island. Central Division officers led by Superintendent Ashton Greenslade conducted an operation between 11 and 2 p.m. Friday and Saturday. Altavis Munnings has this report.
Friday afternoon, the officers arrested 2 men after executing a search warrant on Dunmore Lane and seized a quantity of ammunition and suspected marijuana. The Central Division officers made another drug arrest around 10 o'clock Friday night at the junction of Wellington Street and Blue Hill Road. A 32-year-old man was arrested for a quantity of suspected marijuana. More illegal drugs were discovered by Central Division officers around 7 o'clock Friday night through Sands Lane, that's off Mason's Addition. The Central Division officers found a quantity of suspected marijuana after searching some bushes in the vicinity. Then on Saturday, 3 men were arrested at a home on Peter Street and Hospital Lane when officers were tipped off and executed a search warrant where they uncovered a machine gun along with a quantity of ammunition. Another man was arrested by a team of officers who, acting on information, executed a search warrant at a residence on Hutchinson Street and found an unlicensed shotgun along with a quantity of ammunition. In more news from the Sunday Crime Report, Mobile Division officers discovered a handgun at an unoccupied building in Sunshine Park around 8 o'clock Saturday night. However, no one was taken into custody for that matter. Another firearm was seized about a half hour later at an undisclosed location in New Providence. Investigations into both incidents continue. Now, police appeal to anyone with information on any crime to give them a call at 919. You can also call Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. Family Islanders can dial police at 300-8476. Altavi's Munnings for the ZNS News Network.
And in Family Island crime news, just one day after 11 men and a juvenile were arrested for possession of dangerous drugs in Tarpon Bay, Eleuthera, police in Eleuthera seized a quantity of suspected marijuana at a location in Tarpon Bay around 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon. However, no one was taken into custody. Members of the governing Progressive Liberal Party reflecting in worship this morning at Living Waters Kingdom Ministries on the singular event that helped to shape the modern Bahamas. Majority rule changed the life of the country when the Progressive Liberal Party beat the United Bahamian Party in securing the majority of seats in the House of Assembly on January 10, 1967. PLP Chairman Bradley Roberts says his party is in full support of the elevating majority rule to a national holiday, as it should be recognized as a major victory for justice, equality, freedom, and dignity.
It pains me, however, to witness the careless, reckless, and wanton disregard too many of our people, especially by a number of our young black men, have for these precious and hard-fought freedom. The level of crime, carnage, and general disregard for human life and personal property are clear evidence of their unwillingness to accept responsibility for these priceless gifts.
Dame Marguerite Pinling and former Governor General Arthur Hanna attended this morning's service. Prime Minister Perry Christie said both are among the few who remain a part of the country's living history. And in his final term, Mr. Christie says he has an obligation to ensure that the journey continues.
The journey has to be one that is recognizably connected to making the weakest amongst us stronger. That has to be the commitment. When people in positions such as yourself have a view that we are slipping in that commitment, I invite you to bring that view to our attention. It is easy to get carried away with the governance of a country and be caught up day to day with events that you're trying to control or influence. And sometimes you miss the fact that you are elected to help those who cannot help themselves.
Senior pastor Living Waters Kingdom Ministries Apostle Raymond Wells described the story of majority rule to Moses and the burning bush experience. He saluted the country's founding father and former Prime Minister Sir Lyndon Pinling and credited him with bringing dignity to an oppressed majority. But the clergyman reminded that we must not forget the foundation that was set by those before us.
But here we are today in a Joshua experience. The mantle of leadership has been transferred, and now it's Joshua who is challenged to lead his people to the promised land. In the journey to the promised land, let us not ignore the foundation set under Moses' experience. That experience upheld the dignity of man and recognized that the Bahamas is a Christian nation. The journey to the promised land must be a journey for the people.
Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson is forecasting a more streamlined and efficient justice system on the criminal and civil sides this year. During the recent opening ceremony of the new legal year, the AG disclosed that as part of the Swift Justice Initiative plan, video conferencing is expected to be utilized more, cutting costs and ensuring that valuable judicial time isn't wasted.
Evidence has been received by video conferencing in several cases. Legislation will shortly be brought to Parliament that will enable bails, arraignments, case management, and any other application before trial to be conducted by video conference. By January 2014, we hope that judges and magistrates will see fit, save in exceptional cases, to bring from Her Majesty's prison only persons being tried, all other matters being heard by video conference from the remand center at the prison.
The president of the Bahamas Bar Association is calling for more pupillage opportunities made available by new lawyers joining the profession. Bahamas Bar Association President Ruth Bodarville revealed at the opening of the legal year that after being called to the bar, all novice attorneys are required to perform 1 year of pupillage in chambers and attend court with an experienced attorney. If that requirement isn't fulfilled, the new lawyer will not be able to appear in court to argue a client's case. Bodarville noted that the lack of placement opportunities for new lawyers needs to be addressed.
Data for the physical placement of lawyers for 2012. We do know that at the beginning of 2011, there were 112 lawyers in the government service, 33 in banking, and 832 lawyers in private practice. Within those numbers, we now only have 10 Queen's Counsel. While we may have a large legal community, we are without sufficient placements for the new lawyers. It is imperative that we find placements for these new lawyers, placements where the pupil master meets the requirements as set out in the Legal Profession Act's pupillage regulations.
Mission continues. A Junkanoo group gives back to their community. That story and more coming up.